Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, word to my brethren all across the world watching this video, it's 3:08 p.m. in Dania, Florida. It is July 5th, so happy belated 4th of July to everybody out there. Hope you guys had a nice, safe, happy 4th of July with your family, your friends, your significant other, whatever the case may be. I hope you guys are safe and you're watching this video. Now, I wanted to kind of start something new here on TSS. Um, Being that I have more time, now that if you guys haven't seen the video yet, you'll see it soon. Or you can go see it right now. It's on the channel. It's of me quitting my job. I'm talking about how I'm quitting my job and now I'm not pursuing this boxing thing full time. So, yeah, there's that. But now that I have more time, I can talk more about boxing, and that's what we're here for, to talk more about boxing. And I wanted to start kind of giving like my reviews on like prospects in boxing, just guys that maybe I have made videos about, or maybe that I don't know as much about because maybe they're from the UK. You hear the names floated around, but you really haven't seen a fight for yourself, and you don't really have your own opinions for yourself. So I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start talking about some prospects, guys that are probably known to you guys in the UK and maybe some to some American fans, but maybe more known to me. So I wanted to give you guys my opinion on them. Granted, when I talk about these guys, it's gonna be with me watching a couple fights. So I have my data on them. I have my notes on them. So it's not like I'm just talking out of my ass. But the first prospect I wanted to review, and he's not really a prospect. He's more like in that contender stage now. But I really didn't know much about him. I actually saw him in person last December at the WBC convention when I was interviewing Tony Bellew.
This is the best well, he's not a prospect no more. He's the best talent in the world in Callum Smith.
Callum Smith, yeah.
And he's a 168 pounder. You guys may know him over there in England. Callum Smith. Yes, Callum Smith, the 168 pound prospect or contender now, trying to get a world title shot. Been here a lot of great things from my viewers and subscribers across the pond about Callum Smith. And I figured, I wanted to see what the fuss is about. So I went back and I watched two of his fights. I watched his most recent fight, which was against Luke Blackledge. And I watched his fight against Rocky Fielding from 2 years ago. I thought those were two good fights to watch. I knew who Rocky Fielding was, and Luke Blackledge was his most recent fight. So they seem to be the most ideal. So we'll start off with this. Some fun fact, a fun fact about Callum Smith. And sorry, Callum. Unfortunately for him, he's a Liverpool fan of soccer, English Premier League, football, he's a fan of Liverpool Football Club, and you already know what it is over here. It's Everton over here, so, to hell with Liverpool, go back to Norway. But, Caleb Smith, aside from his allegiance in the world of soccer, good fighter, man, good fighter. I watched this fight with Luke Blackledge, and I was very impressed with what I saw in that fight. He's a guy that maintains a very active jab. He's very long and lanky and has very quick hands, very quick feet. So when you're someone like that, you want to maintain that jab. You want to be able to just kind of pump it out there and keep whatever fighter it is at bay. So, yeah, I was really impressed with how he was just committed to his jab. Aside from that, obviously most guys who have solid jabs and commit to it are fluid combination punchers. It's no different for Callum Smith. He's a fluid combination puncher. Showed it many times in the Luke Blackledge fight. Landing left hooks, straight rights, uppercuts, you name it, he was doing it. He definitely punched in combination, so that was good to see. One thing that I will say about Caleb is that, like, sometimes, he likes to fight on the inside a little too much sometimes. Like, at least he did, from what I saw in the Luke Blackledge fight. Like, it was the guy was mauling him, was trying to do that. And there were times in the fight, couple rounds, where he kind of got away from his jab, and, he kind of, like, gave up his size, and Luke Blackledge was able to land some uppercuts and just kind of do some good work on him. So I think that'll be one thing he learns as he gets more seasoned as a pro, that he has that length, he has that quickness, he has that like accuracy and great dexterity on his punches. He will land them. So he needs to make sure that he keeps the inside fighting with shorter fighters to a minimum. So that's one thing I noticed. Another thing I noticed too is, like, despite him having good quick feet and fast hands, he has a tendency to not move his upper body, much like Kell Brook. The guy, like, was getting clipped with some jabs. His head was, like, straight right there. He wasn't moving his head at all. So he can like head movement at times, but that should improve as he gets more seasons as a pro, because Luke Blackledge being that much shorter than him, I felt like, okay, he has a jab. He has the reach advantage. There should be no reason that Luke Blackledge is getting that even close to him. So, like I said, I like Caleb, but that's one of those things he needs to learn as he gets more seasoned as a pro. One thing I will say is that despite his frame, like what I noticed in that Luke Blackledge fight was that, like, despite his actual, like, because he's real skinny and lanky, he did show some physical strength. There was an instance where Luke Blackledge kind of got him in the clinch and had Caleb's arms tied up, and Caleb just rips his 3-punch combination, knocking him to the canvas, and he kind of showed really good physical strength to work his hands out that clinch and rip those punches really nice and fluid out of there to knock him down. So I like that about him. And I will say that as the fight went on, he didn't give up his size. He kind of learned from his previous mistakes early in the fight, which I believe was round 3 when he kind of gave up his size. Didn't give up his size, and he pretty much had control of the range to the point where Luke had to lunge to try to get anything off or get on the inside. So I like that he made that adjustment, that little subtle adjustment that allowed him to take control of the fight. By round 7, Luke was kind of frustrated with Caleb. Like, he was doing a lot of holding. And honestly, us American, I'm an American, so I watch a lot of American boxing matches. And there's a lot more holding in our fights. I mean, this dude barely was, by my standards, by watching guys like Andre Ward and, Klitschko and all kinds of guys that we see, really wasn't that much holding, but the ref deemed it as excessive holding, and he got taken a point away. So I kind of wish we could get some of those judges, those refs here in America. It's ridiculous, but that's what it is. Callum Smith was getting clipped again because he wasn't moving his head, which he will need to improve on, or either that or just he's gonna have to take his range control to another level so he doesn't get hit as much. But the good thing for him is Luke Blackledge is not like a ridiculously hard puncher, so he wasn't able to hurt him. And as the fight wore on, Caleb showed good patience, timing him, wore him down with body shots, especially that left hook to the body, and just began working off that jab. And I was really impressed with the patience, man. He didn't get frustrated. There were many times where you could have got frustrated. Luke was doing a lot of holding, mauling, landing some shots from range he probably shouldn't have landed shots from. So Caleb, there was a lot of reasons to be frustrated, but Caleb maintained his composure and just stuck with his game plan. It sounds corny, but he stuck with his game plan in that fight. And then towards the 10th round, and this is in both fights that I watched. The Luke Blackledge fight, which was I believe like 11 or 10 rounds, and then the Rocky Fielding fight, which ended in 1 round. We'll get to the Rocky Fielding fight in a minute. But in this particular fight that I watched with Luke Blackledge, he landed. And it's funny because this is a fight that these are punches that usually, traditionally speaking, like Puerto Rican fighters and black fighters, mainly Puerto Rican fighters. Puerto Rican fighters seem to like this punch more than any other people in boxing. Luke Blackledge had kind of, he was doing some holding, and then Callum broke the clinch. He kind of took some steps back, a couple steps back. Luke was chasing him, went straight forward chasing him. He kind of had his hand here, or from what is he, left hook? So let's say, yeah, this is orthodox. So he had his right hand here to protect anything from Luke Blackledge. Luke Blackledge threw a punch, and Callum caught him going backwards with a nice left hook, and stopped him cold right there. So that's a punch that you see normally. Like, obviously fighters from all races have done that punch, but a lot of Puerto Rican fighters I know from just my time watching Trinidad as a kid, he used to love that punch going backwards, throwing the left hook, the check left hook. So he landed that same punch, flattened him. So right there, what that tells me about Callum Smith is, aside from his physical tools, his actual boxing skill alone, he has great accuracy, commits to his jab, works the body. For someone who's as long as lanky in him, a lot of times long lanky guys are stiff and they don't have enough dexterity to land punches on the inside. Caleb, I thought, showed some great dexterity and flexibility to land some short shots on the inside when he was there with Luke Blackledge. So I was impressed with that. But yeah, the fact that this guy can punch going backwards shows me that he has potential, and I say potential, maybe, to become an A-level fighter. You know, he definitely has that skill set. The only one out of the Smith brothers, you know, out of Liam, Paul, and what's the other one? Liam, Paul. I forget another one. But the only one out of the Smith brothers that I genuinely feel could be an A-level fighter, and that's that's great for him. And the Rocky Fielding fight, you know, Rocky Fielding was a guy that came to fight. He came to, you know, was also undefeated at the time. Both were from England, so it was a big fight. But I like the fact that, you know, despite Rocky Fielding's record, you know, there was a clear discrepancy in talent and class, and Callum made that very early, hurting him multiple times, staying on him. And much like the Luke Blackledge fight, he kind of, you know, stepped back and landed the chest lock hook to stop Rocky Fielding as well. So I was impressed with what I saw from Callum Smith, and I know now he's trying to chase Anthony Durrell for a world title. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes for him, man. Aside from the fact that he's a Liverpool fan, you know, he's all right with me, man. I like Callum Smith. I would like to see him take on some of the top guys at 168 and maybe enter this tournament with the World Boxing Super Series. You know, they have had a hard time getting the 168 pounders in there, so it'll be good to see him. But overall, right now, I see Callum Smith as basically a guy that's conquered the domestic level, and now he's shooting to validate himself on the world level, which is an interesting place for any fighter, you know, once they actually get past the confines of just where they're from, and then they actually try to start challenging the best guys from around the world. So we'll see how he does there. From what I have seen from Callum, from the two fights that I watched, I know there's more to watch, but his chin wasn't really tested. Maybe you guys out there who've watched more than I have, my UK viewers, can tell me maybe he's got knocked down. But in the Luke Blackledge fight and in the Rocky Fielding fight, he showed decent chin, and well, really he wasn't gonna hit that much. So yeah, man, I like Callum Smith, and I think he'll definitely be a world champion at 168. Or title holder, I should say. Champion's a different story. But title holder, definitely. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. I would say just, you know, continue to work that jab and just develop that mental discipline. A lot of fighters can get away from the game plan sometimes. It's hard. But the dude can fight, and I like what I saw from him. Long, lanky, rangy boxer puncher. One of my favorite things in boxing are long, lanky, rangy boxer punchers. And he definitely seems to be just that and fit that description. So, let me know what you guys think about Callum Smith. That's my review on him. I think he's definitely right now in this point of his career a B-level fighter with an A-level ceiling to become world champion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know any of the prospects in boxing you guys like me to go watch their fights and do reviews just like this. I'll do long, detailed reviews. Well, just like this, just leave me some comments down below on who you'd like to see me do next. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from doing it. So until next time, take care, guys.